Thank you. Thank you, Vice President. Members of the press, as has been stated by the Vice President, we are wrapping up our tour of Central Province today. We are here to brief the nation of some of the observations we've made, reaffirm our commitments, the commitments we've made at political rallies, and indeed clarify certain messages that may not have been clear on a rally platform. One of the things that we've observed, the violence in Central Province has escalated to very dangerous levels. We started with Chisamba, where a UPND cadre was found in the audience carrying a firearm. We questioned, first of all, this is a non-UPND cadre who ordinarily would not have attended the rally that we're holding. But he came there and he was armed. He actually had a firearm. So this indeed is very, very dangerous. We've seen a gun culture, the gun culture growing in the UPND. We've seen them brandishing guns. We saw that during their intra-party elections in Southern Province. We saw that during the nominations where Honorable Garin Kombo was attacked. So our colleagues are moving from pangas, are now carrying guns. This indeed is very, very dangerous. This was not all. When we came to Mukushi, the ground where we're to have our rally is near UPND offices. Again, a non-UPND cadre was seen brandishing a gun immediately before the rally. And we are therefore very concerned. We are concerned that in the UPND, they are embracing a gun culture. We know that they've been carrying pangas for a very long time, from the Mapatizia formula days. They managed to shield that, they managed to hide that and rub it onto the PF. And everybody believed that PF was a violent party. For those that may remember, from the Mapatizia formula, if you remember the elections in Mufumbwe was between MMD and UPND. There was a lot of blood in that particular election because the UPND had moved in with pangas. They have never dropped their pangas. They have never stopped their panga culture. We wish to condemn the UPND for use of the pangas. That is why we always wonder when President Hakainde Hichilema talks about going back to the PF and going back to the pangas. It's not a question of going back to the pangas. The pangas in the UPND have existed from time immemorial. As a matter of fact, it's the UPND that introduced pangas in politics, and they have never abandoned them. What is most disturbing is that the president has never condemned the panga culture in his party. He has never condemned the gun culture in his party. We want to call on him to come out clean and condemn violence in his political party. We want him to come out clean and condemn the deaths that have occurred at the hands of violent political cadres within his political party. We are talking about 5 deaths. 1 in Kaputa. A number of people were arrested. Yet we know that particular death was as a result of UPND cadres differing over some money of some sort. They found it convenient to go after our members and arrested them. On the other side, when somebody was killed in Magoe, no one has been arrested up to this point. Nobody has been arrested. The campaigns have continued. ECZ has played a blind eye to that. 3 other people were killed in Kanyama by non-UPND cadres, and no one has been arrested. The president has not spoken to that. So we want to call upon President Hakainde Hichilema to come out clean. If at all he condemns pangas as he wants to appear, can he condemn the use of pangas by his political cadres? Can he condemn the use of guns by his political cadres, as the case was in Chisamba and indeed in Mukushi? So one of our members, Chester Kasonde, was brutally attacked here in Serenje by UPND cadres. To date, no one has been arrested. And President Hakainde Hichilema is quiet. And yet he wants to come out as a president of a peaceful political party. President Hakainde Hichilema, my dear brother, Zambians can see your cadres. Zambians can see how your cadres are hacking people each and every day. You cannot continue to hide, Mr. President. You cannot continue to hide. Come out and condemn violence so that Zambians, would believe you going forward whenever you want to appear to condemn violence. So we want to put it on record that the levels of violence in Central Province are extremely high, and the violence is caused by UPND cadres. We have had a record 45 rallies, no violence, no fights, right across the country. So even the cases we're citing, these were UPND cadres trying to disturb our rallies. So President Hakainde Hichilema, you've got that burden on you, and you've got to discharge it by condemning violence in no uncertain terms. Countrymen and women, in Central Province, we discovered that our farmers have been neglected. Our farmers have been neglected due to poor distribution of inputs, and the quantum of support that is given to these farmers is not enough to sustain their farming activities. The farmers in Central Province are coming from a background where they were getting 6 bags, 8 bags plus legumes previously. They've now been reduced to receiving fertilizers in small buckets called medas. So this indeed is a concern. As the Vice President had earlier pointed out, we've made our commitment to continue with the Farmer Input Support Program, but also to improve and increase the quantum of support under FISIP. We've undertaken to give each farmer up to 8 bags of fertilizer. In cases where they're also receiving legumes, they'll go up to 10 bags. There'll be an additional 2 bags that will be given to these farmers. This, we believe, will improve the farming activities in Central Province. We are also looking at increasing support to other crops, or farmers who are growing other crops. For instance, in Serenje, we've discovered that farmers are skilled at growing tobacco. We are closely studying that and trying to see how best these farmers could be assisted. Soybean farmers will also be included on that particular list so that we can increase the crops that are supported by government, as it were. So the other concern has been the late payments. Most of the farmers actually lost their property. They lost their capital due to delayed payment by the Food Reserve Agency. This indeed is a concern, and our promise to the farmers that we will be paying for their crops promptly. We will ensure that farmers are not inconvenienced, as the case has been, where they went on for months waiting on queues at the banks, wasting money, spending nights out of their houses just because of these delayed payments. We also later discovered that the late payments were because of some criminal enterprise that was created by government to siphon government money. There's a list of UPND cadres and UPND supporters, some holding very high offices, up to the level of speaker, members of parliament, ministers, media directors, name them, who corruptly and fraudulently got millimil from some enterprise called Ego, which was conveniently created to siphon money from government. Individuals were given facilities running into hundreds of millions of kwacha. An individual with no past performance whatsoever, nothing to show, is given a facility of 100 million kwacha. And it's been a year plus. They've paid no way towards that. And all these are UPND cadres. President Hakainde Hichilema is aware of this fraud. He's aware of these thefts. We want to call them pure thefts. These are UPND cadres, members of the UPND, friends to President Hakainde Hichilema, who are siphoning money from government institutions. And President Hakainde Hichilema would go on a platform and call innocent people crooks, leaving behind people who have been getting hundreds of millions of kwacha within his camp. FRA has been unable to pay off poor farmers in Central Province because of over 1 billion kwacha is in the hands of UPND cadres who got milling meal from Ego Milling, purporting to be exporting it. And in fact, exported that milling meal, got the money, began to build houses, buying apartments in Dubai, investing in trucking. All this information is available. Suddenly, these media directors, speakers of the National Assembly, are transporters owning hundreds of trucks. People can't trace where they're getting this money to, and yet they were just stealing money through Ego Milling. It's indeed very sad. And I want to call upon President Hakainde Hichilema, before you go on the platform to call innocent people crooks, check in your bedroom, check on your sons. What are they doing? Have they accounted for the millions of kwacha they got through Ego Milling? The Vice President spoke to how Ego Milling was formed. As far as we were concerned, if that was a government enterprise, the person who was supposed to hold shares in that company was the Minister of Finance. But the shares are held by individuals. Now we're beginning to wonder. Others are saying this is a criminal enterprise carefully created to siphon money from government. And if we knew then what we know now, we would have actually moved to try and stop that. We have now discovered that it's through this Ego Milling that millions of kwacha are being siphoned from government. And President Hakainde Hichilema is quiet. I want to call upon you, my brother, President Hakainde Hichilema, address the nation and explain why your members are walking away at individual level, an average of 100 million kwacha. The names are all there. How did they acquire a facility of 100 million kwacha? What did they leave as security? What collateral? What balance sheet did they have to be trusted with 100 million kwacha? Today, they've gotten that money. They are buying trucks. They are buying apartments in Dubai. And President Hakainde Hichilema, you're quiet. You're quiet, and yet you know that your members are stealing from government. Poor farmers in Serenje today are suffering because of your members who are holding over to over 1 billion, 2 billion kwacha that has been held from the Food Reserve Agency. It's indeed very sad. Countrymen and women, the president that you have in State House today can never pretend to fight corruption. He should never pretend to fight corruption because he's got corrupt elements right in his camp. He's very quick at pointing at others. Look at the kettle that is calling the pot black. He calls everybody else corrupt. But his members have been stealing money through Ego Milling. It's indeed very, very disturbing. Especially that this money belongs to the poor people. The poor people of Serenje, Mukushi, Chitambo, Kapirimposhi, and Chisamba, where President Hakainde Hichilema was yesterday. Those farmers have suffered because his friends have taken away money. They have no intentions to pay it back. If somebody gets milling meal from the factory and loads it onto trucks and goes to Congo, he comes back after a month having sold the milling meal and he's not paying you. How sure are you that they'll ever pay? Where will they ever get the money from? Because they're busy investing this money, and President Hakainde Hichilema is playing a blind eye. We are very disturbed with the Vice President when we're going through this morning, that we have a president that can be so hypocritical. He talks about thieves. He talks about thefts and corruption. In his bedroom, his own children are holding on to about 2 billion kwacha, money that belongs to the Zambian people, money that belongs to the farmers here. Today, they're failing to announce the floor price. Why? Because they have no money. They have no money. The money is with the UPND cadres. So, countrymen and women, my dear farmers, indalama shenu, shikuliba pompwe, vali sende shwendalama, ukupitila mubunga, vale vepatio valipanga company, Ego Milling, yo Ego Milling asenda mataba ku FRA, enomba ile pela bakada. kada umwale senda 100 million kwacha worth aya ashitisha ainja na pachani ba President Hakainde Hichilema tabatala bakumyako yo tabatala balandapo yo tabale myumfilo oluse imwe tabale umfila balanda oluse n'abapusana fwe bomfila balanda oluse ifo tule milirira koko bati ababa pompwe bemine n'okulayibira balanda endalama tekyagwa kyokubapele voti yo naye mwe bene bafama ku kisambo ko balebepo obufi mwishibye okuti endalama shenu abayikata ni bapompwe abo bene bashingulwikyabo nomba mufyasha bananga baleyi banayishiba nayikala tondolo nispale fyeshibe potego fit umukalamba kutaka ni spy number 1 spy number 1 akano kwishiba taba nabeba
ero uchita supervise na SSC
ero uchita supervise wa SSC akano kuti babekate nispale fyeshibepo kanshi umufyashi stadi wakaele yo kanshi kula mutunganya nango kuti pale fyeshibepo kuti ndakwata molu bali muri mufile chitika. Yeah, so we are indeed very disturbed, and we know that they are busy looking for money. They want 2 weeks before the elections to come and pay farmers so that they pretend to be very swift. They convince the farmers that they've put money in their pockets. Farmers, do not be cheated. These are people that have tormented you. Bamichusha. Don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. You should vote for a government that is going to care for you. A government that will care for your farming activities. A government that will look at your plight. Not government ilemichusha erasati yomkwai twalimisaka twampele fintu. So kanshinangwale tendalama last minute mutaba weshilu baukombola liyali apena. Sendeni fendalama and vote wisely. The other issue we found was our commitment to the youths. Remember, Vice President referred to it. Ours is to move the youths and the women from the margins to the center of policy and economic transformation. We identified gold mining in Central Province to be one such sector where we will create millionaires. Creating millionaires in the gold sector will not entail Honorable Makebi Zulu na Mundubile yake sene sakari ama million. Kwati niwala wibile kuigo meeting. We are not coming with millions to come and give to the youths. We are going to facilitate. Firstly, we are going to formalize the sector. We'll formalize the sector by making sure that we give them licenses and protect them from bigger players who many a time have been displacing our small-scale miners. We will not only give them licenses. The time we're giving them licenses, government departments would have surveyed these particular areas and established the quantum of material that exists in that particular area. So that to be the starting point of attracting an aggregator who's going to be a buyer, who's going to be a facilitator to these small-scale miners. To simply put it, walaba miner tuwapela ma license pa area epo tuchile survey tukavekata pama bokota tukavale kelele iyo filafine tukamono kutibai mine na tente bamba no ukwenda kubapela ba mashini bale imbilako noko akushitisha ma refinery akaba mu pepi through an aggregator. That single measure, within 2 years, and I'll repeat, we will create millionaires in Chisamba area. There will be millionaires in Serenje from the gold mining, in Mukushi, in Kikonge, in Kanyelele, in Nyimba, and in Chipata. This is a promise that we make. There is nothing impossible about that. If other countries that have taken such measures were able to realize up to $10 billion within a year, our small-scale miners who will be mining that gold will get a fair share, a fair compensation for that gold. And it's because of that that we know Kunoku Serenje, there will be youth millionaires that will start developing Serenje. So the bigger players that our friends have been focused on, we'll give them green fields to go and work, but we'll protect our youths where they're mining gold. They'll be properly protected. We'll formalize the sector, assist them to the end until they start their production. When they start their production, ensure there's a market to pay a fair price for their production. And that way, our youths will make their money right from where they've been working from all this time. So this is the promise that we make to our youths right across the country. Wherever there are resources, Big Brother will move in, the bigger will move in form of an aggregator to make sure that we see our youths through. Totally the bigger, right? The bigger is the bombe. Tafichila hapo baneyo. Tafichila hapo banenu. Wale ibobunga through ego milling. If we na wa makebi tula pepa, tatuiva. If we bane pompe u point out munengo ole iva, you can't be in our government. Our names, so they are facilitating Mupompe. If we Christian West about Pakanwa yo, to be Christian indeed, our deeds are Christian deeds. So that wakasumine okwebati mwemba supporter besu mule isa mubu mfisolo mwaya ibobunga kuli ba ego milling atwala mipokolo langa banenso abayo. Ifo bukabwala ata mwakave abena Zambia baleta mfya bakabolala in this election. Let's all learn from there. But ababonse bakwatenda la mashabala ndatu apapata. We have pledged reconciliation, but we didn't say bakabolala bakaninda la mashabala ntu abaleka hiyo. Bafirefe babwesha. Banenga mwalista matracts ambeni kushitisha muweshe nda mashabala ndatu apapata. Mwekesa tubepesha ufyati mufimbila. Ninda la mashabala nda mfile mwabwesha. Mukwai lastly, my civil servants. Our civil servants, we want to give them assurances. We have undertaken to reform the civil service. We believe that police reform alone is not enough without state reform. We do not only want to change government, but we also want to change how government works. We want to start by reforming the civil service. We will depoliticize the civil service. We will professionalize the civil service. We will embark on a merit-based recruitment approach to make sure that the best brains are employed in government so that we're able to implement our policies going forward. So to our civil servants that are burdened with debt, we'll implement the debt swap so that you get some relief of your debt. We'll further look at your pension scheme. We want to reform the pension scheme. We tried the partial withdrawals and they have not worked. We have listened to the civil servants. The civil servants seem to be, more aligned to the lump sum payments. So we'll put up a flexible system that allows civil servants to either withdraw partially, but also give them an option to get a lump sum so that they can have some meaningful investment from their pension indeed. And to our civil servants again, a number of civil servants have not been upgraded in their positions after they acquired some further studies. We want to say that those upgrades, starting with the Ministry of Education, where we have over 50,000 positions awaiting upgrades, we immediately upgrade so that people are promoted and put in the rightful positions according to their qualifications, as it were. To the nurses, those that are volunteering, we've done a survey. There are a number of hospitals that were built by the PF dotted around the country. These are mini hospitals, district hospitals, and indeed health posts that have no doctors and nurses, as it were. So we'll make sure that we embark on a recruitment process to recruit especially those that have been volunteering. We immediately absorb them so they can continue to give health services to our people. But like we said yesterday, we will not end there. Our modus operandi will not be like that of President Hakainde Hichilema. We will continue building hospitals so that even those people that are graduating, we continue absorbing them. We'll continue building schools, not 1 by 3 classroom blocks, no. We'll build schools so that we reduce the teacher-pupil ratio from 1 to 150 to 1 to 45 and 50 going forward. So teachers are guaranteed to be employed because we'll create your workplaces. We'll create your workplaces through building hospitals and building schools, as it were. And to our men and women in uniform, those that are there to defend us, we have not forgotten you. We know that the notch adjustment system has been stagnant for some time. Many of you have remained at the same notches for some time. So we want to make sure that we reactivate that so that, you sit at your proper positions and the proper salary scales. We know that you are the people that are protecting us, and you need to be taken care of. You need to be looked after. Previously, you know that we built comfortable accommodation for you. We'll continue to build houses for men and women in uniform. We'll continue to make sure that your social amenities are reactivated to the extent that now even canteens don't work for our men and women in uniform. Their clubs are not funded. So make sure that all these social amenities that make your work easy, because we know your work is stressful. You're mainly in the bush and in the outskirts. You deserve to be taken care of. We'll make sure that we revamp these social amenities for you. So Mukwai, we just thought we could speak to the nation regarding...
There's two more things.
Yes,
the Cancer Disease Hospital as well as the road network around the country.
Yes.
You may want to address that.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Vice President. Yes, whilst others are stealing millions through ego milling, the cancer hospital remains dysfunctional. Very sad indeed. You can imagine, just pick one of these individuals, whether the media director who owes 80 million kwacha. You spend this 80 million kwacha at the cancer hospital, it will start working. Our people will be saved. As a matter of fact, then you go maybe to one of the speakers. The two speakers are owing. One of the speakers, let's take the male speaker, is owing over 100 million. If you got the money that is owing and you spend it on equipment for screening of cancer and equipment for treatment of cancer, most of our hospitals today will be equipped. So we want to make this undertaking to the Zambian people, countrymen and women, that ours will be prudent use of resources. We'll make sure that the money that belongs to the people is properly employed. We'll prioritize healthcare, universal healthcare, taking health facilities closest to the people. So if you look at the place like Serenge, they've got a hospital quite all right, but if you look at the population, they will need additional hospitals constructed within Serenge to take care of the people of Serenge. The same applies to Mukushi. The same applies to Chisamba. The same applies to Kawe and Kapirimposhi, where we've been. So we promise to build more health facilities. We promise to use national resources prudently. We've also looked at the road infrastructure, basically. If you look at Chisamba, you've got that road from Chisamba going to Chipembi, right through into Lusaka. Those will be some of the priority projects that we will take, because it saves the people of Chisamba the trouble of having to go around all the way. So that road will be upgraded. Those two roads will be upgraded. In Kapiri, we'll look at the Kapiri-Ngawe road. We are looking at the road from Mukonchi coming all the way to Mukushi. We are looking at the Mpula-Masansa road. We are looking at the Masansa-Mukushi road. We are also looking at the Piccadilly road from Kawe into Mukushi. These are key roads that we are going to look at going forward. Coming to Mukushi, we are looking at the road to Chivale that goes around, a road from the post office to what place is this? Kabundi, yes, from the post office to Kabundi. Yeah, so the road infrastructure, these are key roads, as a matter of fact. They are not only there for social purposes, they are also there for commercial purposes. There's a lot of potential that lies along these roads in terms of agriculture, mining, among other economic activities, including tourism. So we're going to prioritize these, because remember, ours is to make sure that we invest in backbone infrastructure. Once we've invested in backbone infrastructure, we should be able to industrialize. And once we industrialize, we create jobs for our people, including the people of Central Province. Yes. So countrymen and women, we just thought we could update you and brief you on how we're proceeding, with our visit to Central Province. Thank you very much.
Colleagues, you know that we are constrained with time, so we may not take questions, save for maybe one question. If it's so pressing, we may take that question.
Especially on the thefts by ego milling.
Can we have that question? Your name, please?
My name is
Anna, were you also speaking at the rally?
Yes, I have 2 questions. Yes, but I'll ask as one, since you say it's pressing questions. Of course, we have seen in our country for years that corruption is usually fought once that government is out of power. If none, or maybe 1 or 2 cases where public office holders are held accountable for their actions while they are still serving, what's that different thing that you think your government is going to do to ensure that, for example, in the case of the Igomili, where you take action as government, as they are still serving as public office holders? Secondly, we have 2 journalists who, one is from Millennium TV. He captured a video in a nightclub of people vibing to Mundubile song. And then another one, he recorded a conversation of individuals without their permission, but it was in relation to elections and voter protection, something like that. What's your comment in relation to that? That these are journalists and maybe to them they shared that information thinking it's of public interest.
That last question.
Okay. This one is coming from a media institution that is following us online. It says, Mr. President, many local businesses, especially small and medium enterprises, are struggling and are complaining under the weight of multiple taxes, levies and regulatory fees, which they are saying are forcing them to scale down or close altogether. If elected president, what specific reforms would your government implement to create a more favorable investment environment for Zambian-owned businesses while ensuring that the government raises enough revenue to fund public services?
Mr. President, we only have 5 minutes for you to answer those 3 questions.
Yes, Anna Mwila, you are talking about corruption is normally fought when people are out of power. You know, they say the greatness of a nation is judged from its fidelity to the Constitution. You are lucky that you are voting into power 2 constitutional legal scholars that actually respect the Constitution. Ours is we respect the provisions of the Constitution. Now, one thing that we're going to do very differently, we're going to reform the Anti-Corruption Commission. One of the things we're going to do, for instance, is on reporting. The time the SEC will be giving a report to the President, they will also be handing over a report to Parliament and the Parliamentary Committee. This is to increase transparency, such that if my young man here, Smith, is in that SEC report and he thinks I'll save him because he's my friend, I will not be able to, because that report will also be sitting before a parliamentary committee. So that's one way that we're going to fight corruption, even when we're in government, even when it involves our people. So we would have warned all our ministers, would have warned our people to remain above board, because there will be nothing hidden under the carpet. We'll make sure that our dealings are above board. And one way of doing that, one is to make sure that we improve and reform the reporting methods of the SEC. And secondly, the anti-corruption will not fall under the office of the president, because we want to make sure that even the office of the president is checked by the Anti-Corruption Commission. So that's how we want to remain transparent in the dealings, in dealing with a corrupt. The issue on the journalists, I didn't quite pick it. Or did?
Okay, so there is one journalist from Millennium Radio.
Yes.
He recorded a video in a nightclub where they was dancing. The people in the nightclub were dancing to Mundubile and Makebi's song.
Yeah.
He recorded and posted it on social media.
Okay.
He has been summoned today by the police in relation to the social media. The details to that are not yet made public. The other one is Macpherson Mufuka of ZNBC. He was detained, I think, last week, Thursday, when he published a conversation of some United Party for National Development individuals who were planning on how they are going to engage presiding officers at polling stations to ensure that they influence how the voter counting is done. So, as an aspiring president, how do you think that infringes on the rights of journalists to either inform the public or just publish matters they think are of public interest?
Vice President will take it.
I'll take that. Thank you very much. Let me start by saying Macpherson Mukuka is a hero in this context. He's a hero because he has made public that which is of public interest. Zambians are interested in having a free and fair elections, a free and fair election. And if civil servants, or indeed those that are calling themselves friends of UPND or friends of the president, who are civil servants, are coming together to see how best they can subvert the will of the Zambian people, then we have a problem. It is for that reason that we need the Office of the Public Protector to come and be able to be functional. Then every form of misfeasance in public office will be checked. There will be accountability in government. It appears to us that President Hakainde Hichilema is okay with civil supporting him in his quest to become president, and if they express an opinion in favor of the opposition, it's a problem. The idea of going to the extent of having to employ people at a rally, at a political rally, because they showed up and they said, we are supporting you, then you employ them. That in itself is corruption. It's corruption in that you are procuring votes using your office by giving this handout called a job to a person at a public rally. So President Hakainde Hichilema is as corrupt as all those civil servants that are hoping to assist him by coming together to see how best they can subvert the will of the people, or indeed support him to get more votes. That is not how our government will work. We shall ensure that institutions of governance, or indeed the civil service, is reformed to be able to respect the law, to stay in their lane, to do what is right, without putting on them a duty to say, if you do this, you'll be promoted. Promotions will be on merit. Giving of jobs will be on merit. And those that are being employed at rallies, we're not saying that when we come, we will take away that employment. Be happy that the first salary will be paid by President Mundubile. But we want to extend this benefit to all those that are not coming to political rallies, to those that are qualified and are looking for jobs. We want this opportunity available to every Zambian out there who is ready and qualified to take on those opportunities. So what we're going to do, make sure that the Office of the Public Protector is functional. We are going to ensure that persons that are whistleblowers, as it were, in this case Macpherson, are protected. A person that is expressing themselves, if you go into a public place, believe me, you are volunteered to anything that happens in public. In law, we say volunteer non fit injury. If you are going to go into a particular fight, if you are going to be a boxer and you are punched, you can't say he has assaulted me because he punched me. You volunteered to be in that. So even the person that took that video in that nightclub, in that social setting, perhaps what they think makes it bad is the song that was playing in the background. If what was playing in the background was Jaru, believe me, everybody would be dancing and saying it was okay. But the fact that the song that was played, which people, I'm told, requested for, is a political song, he's being punished, being called to the police, and possibly the DJ, we told, has been fired. There is hope in the next 24 days. There is hope in the next 24 days for every Zambian, and we are going to ensure that all your rights to express yourselves, yes, to hold an idea, to even disseminate that idea is protected.
2 minutes, sir, for the last question.
Yes, sir. For the local businesses, we will strengthen the operations of the Business Regulatory Authority towards single licensing. We discover that most of the businesses are stressed because they've got to get so many licenses, 16, 20 licenses. We will reduce that into a single license so that businesses are assisted. So the operations of Business Regulatory Authority will be strengthened so that we streamline. Secondly, through our efforts to industrialize, we are trying to create and broaden the tax base and be able to reduce the tax burden on the few companies that are operating. So small businesses are assured that their taxes will be lowered because they've broadened the tax base. Right now, there are very few businesses that are operating. Why? Most of them closed because of load shedding. And secondly, President Hakainde Hichilema and his friends closed businesses they suspected were run by opponents in the political space. In our case, we don't care. The UPND running businesses will continue running businesses because they employ Zambian people. Opposition businessmen will be able to operate freely because they employ Zambians. But of course, we'll not say the same about ego milling. That's a criminal enterprise. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we want to sincerely thank you. Just, guys, this is not for the media, just as for guidance.